Hello again, classy people, this is Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and this week I'm reviewing Godzilla. Video game adaptations of existing properties have garnered a pretty bad reputation over the years, but recent titles like the High Moon Transformers games and the Batman Arkham series have proven that it's not all bad. Many would claim that we've never had a truly great Godzilla game though. So does this game earn the moniker of King of the Monsters, or is this closer to Godzilla 98? Let's take a look. Godzilla doesn't have much of a narrative going for it. It can be summed up nicely in 2 words. Godzilla happens. Drawn to Japanese cities by the continued use of G energy, Godzilla must consume as much of the mysterious energy source as possible in order to grow larger and more powerful. The lack of any real story is disappointing, and it really just goes downhill from there. The game's visuals are alright, but would look more at home in a late-gen PS2 game. Levels mostly look like variations on the same city, and the environments lack detail or character. One city level has a Ferris wheel, another has a stand-in for the Tokyo Tower, but aside from the electrical plant or oil refinery stage, everything sort of just blends together. It's not all bad though. The selection of kaiju is pretty impressive, even if too many slots are taken up by Godzilla variants. I'll admit, I was pretty excited to see some of the weirder monsters make an appearance. You want Biollante? You got him. You want Hedorah? He's here. You want Megalon? Well, that's too f***ing bad. But you can have Jet Jaguar instead. That's pretty cool. Honestly, one of the best parts of the game are the goofy FMVs that play whenever a kaiju appears on screen, so I do appreciate that there's at least a decent assortment of them to witness. The music is pretty solid, from the iconic Godzilla brass to the super upbeat Jet Jaguar theme, though the rest of the sound design is wildly varied. The monster roars are on point, though the sounds of buildings crumbling and various explosions fall kinda flat. On top of that, the voice acting is really bland. Godzilla and all his kaiju frenemies are wrecking up the place, and the Prime Minister of Japan and the G-Force contact sound like they don't care for the majority of the game. And they aren't the only ones who don't care. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Godzilla, but while the fan service is pretty strong in regards to the kaiju roster, the gameplay itself just isn't engaging enough to maintain the excitement from the super cool intro movie. Godzilla sells itself as an action game, but it's so unbelievably slow. As far as making the big lizard feel lumbering and massive, it gets the job done, but it could stand to up the pace just a little bit. You can mash the dash attack to get across levels a little bit faster, but it feels like more of a chore than anything. As far as the rest of the moves in Godzilla's repertoire go, the King of the Monsters comes up a little bit short. You have your light attacks and strong attacks, and you can do some very basic combos with them. On top of that, Godzilla can do his atomic breath, an area of effect attack, a basic grab, and a roar. You can expand the move list a little bit, but it just serves to make Godzilla boring to use for the first couple of hours. You can only do basic moves for so long, and unlocking some of the better moves requires gathering materials from other kaiju, who you fight in mostly random encounters. I couldn't upgrade Godzilla for the longest time, just because Jet Jaguar refused to show up, this smiling. With regards to the other kaiju on offer, their movesets are almost completely removed from that of the titular beast. Most don't even have their own grab moves, which is a shame, because I want Jet Jaguar to suplex Destroyer into Tokyo Tower, dammit! The variety in movesets is appreciated, but it makes switching between kaiju pretty annoying as there are very few universal moves, and the fact that every kaiju has different moves wasn't displayed anywhere. More frustrating than the game's poor convenience is the flat-out lack of a proper block or dodge button. Certain characters, like Jet Jaguar, can dodge in any direction, while the vast majority of monsters just have to stand in place and take their beating. Breaking out of stun lock is a case of waiting until your temperature gauge fills up enough for you to perform your area of effect move, and then hoping that your kaiju has a fast enough attack to get back on the offensive. Once you're on the attack, however, there's no challenge in maintaining your advantage. Possibly the strangest design choice for Godzilla is the method with which you actually move your chosen kaiju. The left stick works as it would in a first-person shooter. Left stick up, move forward. Left stick down, move back. Left stick right or left, move side to side. The camera is mapped to the right stick, which is standard enough, but turning your massive monster requires use of the shoulder buttons in an almost tank control fashion. It's strange, but it's not inherently bad. It works well enough when the camera angles change for the optional intel gathering objectives, and allows you to rotate the camera to the side on view when your monster becomes so big they block the standard view. I'm looking at you and your gigantic ass destroyer because I literally cannot see past it. The lackluster gameplay is available in a few different modes. The main campaign, called God of Destruction mode, has you rampaging your way through a branching path of various levels, where your main goal is to destroy every G-energy generator. Each level will pit one or more kaiju against you, all while the militarized G-Force try to defend the city, though they really should invest in tanks that can move if they want to do anything. God of Destruction also offers an invasion mode which allows you to use any of the available kaiju instead of the big G himself, as well as the defend mode which pits your chosen ally of Earth against kaiju after kaiju. Outside of the main mode, you also have a mode that forces you to fight 6 different opponents in an online versus mode. The only thing that might have made this a bit more enjoyable is if I could get drunk and play it with friends in the same room as me, so the lack of local multiplayer is a real downer. Rounding out Godzilla is a diorama mode which lets you place little figures of different characters and G-Force weapons around sets. So you can take pictures of them, I guess. I don't really see the point of this, to be honest, but if you're the type who tries to collect everything, this gives you another thing to hunt for, I guess. Godzilla is disappointing. As a fan of the King of the Monsters, I love the variety of the roster and the cheesy FMV introductions, but past that, there isn't a lot to be content with. The visual quality is substandard, the gameplay is boring and slow, and while the unique movesets show some potential, there is so little depth to sink your teeth into. And talk about repetitive. The only other good thing I can say about Godzilla is that some incredibly dumb things find their way into this game, like Jet Jaguar doing moonsaults, or Godzilla launching himself backwards with his atomic breath. But even that pales in comparison to the original. Godzilla gets the Top Hat Gamer rating of bad. It's hard to recommend this even for the most die-hard Godzilla fan. Its gameplay isn't horrid, but it's shallow and slow and repetitive and riddled with odd design choices. While its attempts at fan service are admirable, it's not enough to get me to ignore its glaring faults. If you can get this cheap and you're a massive fan of Godzilla, then check it out. Otherwise, avoid at all costs. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the review informative. If you missed the last review on Yoshi's Woolly World, or want to catch up on the latest gaming news, click the annotations. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to get the Jet Jaguar theme surgically removed from my brain. Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar.